I mean, look, like it. Here's the thing. I've realized that if I live to my 60s, which is
Mhm.
only 8 years away, like I'm gonna have to go through probably the worst. The worst. This is gonna be the worst decade ever for trans people, and we're just gonna have to get
Here, we're
through
not
it.
going to be here. Like, we're not going to be here.
We're gonna be in
Like,
Edmonton.
we'll
You know
be
what?
wherever we are, but it's not going to be here, honey. There's no
Winnipeg,
fucking way we're going to be here in 8 years.
Winnipeg. Yeah,
Winnipeg, Auckland, Wellington, Sydney, lots of places we
Saskatoon,
can go.
Moose Jaw. What's Moose
Antwerp,
Jaw?
I'm going to go to Antwerp,
Yeah,
go to Brussels, fucking
I got that.
Paris. Let's go to fucking Paris.
I'll go
Berlin,
wherever my job will help me
like
relocate. I've had
Saint
friends who
Tropez.
I have had friends who told
We
me
go
to
to the
go to.
fucking Monaco. Let's go to Monaco. You know where we should go? Let's go to the fucking Isle of Lesbos. It's fucking gorgeous. Lots of places. Scotland. Scotland looks great.
Ireland.
Cuba.
I did like.
Cuba. Beautiful, glorious communist Cuba. We can go to Cuba.
Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz, starring Lilith Electra Zarling, Amanda Bonanza, and esteemed Republican Senator from the great state of Texas, your host, Ted Theodore Cruz.
Yeah, that's what we'll be doing.
You know what?
Watching all those games.
You cut off my story about
What story?
my one person show. Let me
Oh
just tell
no.
you. No, it's okay. And like
Sorry.
I don't know if I ever told you, this is not my one person improvised show. This is a sketch show I wrote, and I
I
had
didn't know. I thought it was the one person
no.
improvised show.
It's two halves. In the first half, this is before I transitioned. Everyone knew I was genderqueer, but it was before I like full time and started hormones and stuff.
Mhm.
I come out just as who I was at the time. I have all these sketches, these one person sketches, and I do them, and it's all about, whatever. And then there's a break in the middle, and I go behind this curtain and I do my makeup and I put on a wig and I put on this amazing dress I had. And then the second half is all about the power of art and how improv kind of helped me find who I really was. And then the last half of the show, I had someone who'd never done improv before, like performed with me for 15 minutes. I gave him like a 5 minute, like
Crash
lesson.
course.
It was great.
Yeah.
And then so afterwards, I change, I go back. There's a hotel nearby, like a fancy hotel, and we go to the bar, and a couple of us, and we have a drink. And Angela Davis walks in, and I got a picture of me with Angela Davis, and
Wild.
I'm wearing like this Indiana Jones fedora that was part of one of my sketches, and I still have all my makeup on. And there's a
That's
picture.
awesome.
Yeah, she was speaking of VCU that night, and I was so mad that I missed it. But I'm also like, I obviously have to do this thing for
Couldn't
me.
be there. I had some cool shit I had to do.
Sorry, I was
Sorry.
busy
Sorry, Angie.
entertaining a sold out crowd at this theater down the road
Yeah,
here.
sorry. I had my own thing that was really fucking cool. I
You
mean, I'm
know,
sure your show was great.
I'm sure
Maybe
your
next
talk was
time.
amazing.
Should put me on the VIP list, and maybe I would have considered it.
She was very gracious to talk to this
Yeah.
crazy white boy with makeup
That's
on and a
awesome.
hat inside a fancy hotel.
I
Yeah,
love it. I love it.
it was
Oh,
great.
Lilith, I love you.
I love you too. And you know who else I love? All the people who are
You.
currently listening to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz. I'm Lola Zarling. That's Amanda Bonanza. I feel like that was a really good intro, and it just
Oh,
flew right into it.
sure.
Yeah, I had like that great story about that show and meeting Angela Davis and how she was nice to me, and yeah,
I think it's all a winner.
it is. It's all winter. We just went right into it, and here we are, ready for the episode.
When
Uh,
I was going downstairs and I went on the break and I went to go use the bathroom and I went to go
yeah,
get my fingernail clippers, I was
yeah,
thinking of like little things I could do to spice up the comedy a little bit. And
yeah.
I didn't really come up with anything. So I just
That's
came up
okay.
with like country ideas for country music, but like they're not even good ideas.
Ideas for
Just
country
come up
music.
here, just like come up here and be like, I'm proud to be an American, hello, land I do, but like I don't really actually have anything. It's 100% phony. I'm not proud to be an American. It's a very embarrassing time to be an American. Like I'm quite ashamed of my country.
We'll put a boot in your ass. We're the
It's just like
USA.
it's just like so funny to me because there is that cross section of people that are just like, I'm fucking proud to be an American. It's like that's like you are what embarrasses me. Like you. Like you and that's what it is like you really shouldn't be proud and that's the thing is like you're proud to be an American like you're proud to be white. Like
Yeah,
it's like it's the same thing, bud. Like it's like it's
yeah.
embarrassing.
I'm
It's
proud to
shameful.
be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Some conditions apply.
Asterisk less than every other country on earth.
Yeah, we'll make your wife carry a dead fetus to term.
And you can't go
Freedom.
see a doctor. That'll be $1 million. Want to buy a house that's $7 million.
Well, unfortunately, if I were to get medicine, that would be
Because I'm
socialism.
proud to
So,
be an American and have to have 6 jobs.
proud to be an American and use my taxes to support a military-industrial complex that terrorizes people across the planet.
And also loses $7 trillion. That just kind of disappears, but we get
haven't
more anyway.
haven't won a war since World War II.
It's true.
Well, that's because everything since then's been a police action. So
Yeah.
can't lose a war if you don't call it a war.
Oh no, you can lose just like we lost Vietnam and Afghanistan. That's still, so definitely losses. Definitely go in the L column. Like, I mean, maybe not if you're wearing American flag on your face, then you don't understand.
This
Then you're like, that's not a loss. We won that war. We it was a tie. It was
there's
a
sure
tie.
there are a ton of Vietnam veteran hats and Civil War memorials in this country for a place that hates participation trophies. I mean, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I tell you, I'll
I tell
say.
you.
No, it is funny. Yeah, it's like, oh, I was in Vietnam. You ever heard about that? It's like, no, who won?
Yeah.
It's like,
I've
tell me
now
about it. Who won that one? Never
been
heard of
Lilith.
that.
I've been Lilith longer than the Confederate States of America was a country. So who's
Oh
real now?
yeah, everything's been something longer than that. It was like a fucking blip. It's like
Who's
4 years
real?
or
And
something.
yeah, it's like a figment of your
Yeah.
imagination. It's a fever dream. Like, get out of here.
But they argue they arguably are rising again. So
I mean, the problem was the liberals then are just like the liberals now. It's like they should have crushed all that shit, but they're like, oh, we don't want to be divisive, and it's just like, okay, well, we're going to pay the bill for this in 220 years,
yeah.
or probably less, 140, 160 years.
Yeah, fuck this place, I'm leaving.
I already speak Canadian. Eh?
Hey, me too, eh?
Eh? We should probably stop that. They're not gonna let us in. They're gonna be like, "We heard your
Yeah.
podcast and you were making a lot of a jokes." All right, I love poutine. I love
I
elk.
love I love Canada. It's
I love
beautiful up
Canada.
there.
It is.
I
Oh,
love
it's
Canada so much.
cold and snow, just like I love from like my hometown.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so gorgeous.
Pristine.
I used to go fishing. My dad used to take us on fishing trips up on a place called did this thing called portaging. Yeah, I'm sure you
Mm.
probably know because you're from Wisconsin. You know about portaging, right? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what that
No.
is.
Okay, so now I get to tell a story. So we would go out to this place in Ontario, and it's called Northern Ontario because everything 100 kilometers north of the United States border is considered Northern Canada
Sure.
because all the people are on within 100 kilometers of the US border. It's a wild place.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of exceptions to that, but it's like 97% of the population or 98 maybe even. Anyway, so we're in northern Canada, which is really just probably like 200 kilometers north of the American border. And but where it's the middle of nowhere because there's just nothing there, and
Hmm.
all there is in for 50 kilometers in any direction is just like a bait shop. It's just like a little store, and then they sell bait, fishing supplies, and that's it. And then there's a lake and a place, and you get in there, like, and that lake is called Pinus Lake, and you get in that lake, get in your boat, go all sail your boat, motor your boat all the way clear across Pinus Lake, and you get to the end, and then there's a little dock kind of sort of thing with like these wood things, and you carry your boat across those things to the next lake over, which I don't know, remember what the second lake was called.
Okay.
But then like the next lake, then you do that same thing. It's called a portage. And then you do the next one, that lake, at the end of that, you have to go up a waterfall and carry your boat, and you winch your boat up that, then you get to Wigwam Lake.
Yeah.
Then we would usually camp on Wigwam Lake, and that'd be where we stayed. But then you could do another portage, and you could go to, like, there's two other lakes, Carver Lake, and maybe Carver was the big one, and then like Tank Lake was the one, because like when you get up into that space, you're pretty isolated. So
Hmm.
you pretty much don't deal with any other people, but you do deal with people a little bit one of the times, because what people will do is they'll fly pontoon planes in, and they'll
Hmm.
fly planes in, and they'll boat that way, like, and then they'll fish from there, and they'll camp with that. But Tank Lake is too small to land a pontoon plane. So there's literally no one else, and there's no trail to it except for the trail that my dad blazed himself. Like, it was like a 3/4 mile, and he just did it with a machete, and he
Nice.
did it himself. Like, yeah, and so we went there, and like, and the fucking fish story. So I'm going to tell you a fish story that was absolutely true. So it was me and my dad and my little sister, and I was like 10, and like she was like 7.5 or 8, and like it was just like my dad cast it off and right away got a bite, and I cast it off and right away got a bite, and like we just reeled him in, and like the water was so like clear you could see, and so like you could see that both my dad and I each had two fish on our lure with a bunch of fish following it.
Yeah.
And then my sister saw that, and she just like plunked her thing in the water and caught a fish. It was amazing.
That's funny. Smart girl. I don't have any stories like that about my dad.
No, I love my dad. My dad and I get along great. My dad's awesome.
Yeah, we did not.
I love my dad very much. What is he doing now? He's retired. He lives in
He's,
Southern California.
uh,
He's in his 70s, and he's had a bunch of surgeries. He's not in the best of health. He put his body through the mill. Like, he just,
yeah,
like, he was a workhorse, and he never slept. He just worked physically constantly his whole
but
life.
it,
I mean,
but what, well, like, was he one of them? Like, my dad was a Milwaukee factory guy.
he worked at Allen Bradley.
Yeah, so a lot of those factory guys are like that. Like, my dad's
He
dead,
was an
and
engineer though. He did
oh,
work in a machine shop
yeah,
for years. Like, yeah, but then he became an engineer. But I mean, he was a pretty hands-on engineer, and
yeah.
like he built a house, and like he did everything, like every house we ever lived in. Like, it sucked for me growing up, because like I hated all that stuff, and
Mhm.
like we never had a full house because he was always doing construction in every house we lived in. By the time it would finish, he would sell the house and buy a new one, and like it was
Yeah,
just like, all right, like, yeah. But
motivated dad though. We lived in the same two-bedroom house my whole life, no matter how many kids my mom and dad kept having. At one
before
point,
I lived,
at one
yeah,
point there were four of us in two bunk beds in one bedroom.
that's awful.
That is awful,
That's
especially when you're
awful.
trans and going through puberty. That is messing everything up. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not great. That's not great
not
at
not
all.
great, not great. But
I
yeah, all those
what
factory dudes my dad worked with are either like in super super shitty health or already dead.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much. Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, because they're they beat their bodies up and they ate like shit, didn't take care of themselves. Like, it's like, and then
Drank
got
themselves stupid all
drank
the time.
themselves stupid and like ate like garbage. And like, and then just, yeah, beer and like the bar every fucking night, it's
Oof.
like fucking Milwaukee. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's like,
Ugh, the whole state
yeah.
really. Like
I
8 of the
mean,
10 drunkest counties in the country are in Wisconsin.
believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing though, is everyone drinks everywhere. Like every place you go, it's like, oh, we drink here. It's like, yeah,
No.
because everyone drinks everywhere. Like, it's like, no, because it's the same here in
No.
Oli. Like, everyone's like, oh, we fucking drink. And they do. People do drink here, like a
Yeah.
lot. Like, it's like, because you know why? Because everyone drinks a lot everywhere. Like,
Except
and it's actually fallen out of favor lately. Like, it's like, I
when you're
enjoy
drinking too
that.
much, it's like when you're in Wisconsin and no one's bragging about it.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin, no one's like, "Yeah, we drink here." It's like, "Could you please keep it down? We're trying to just
We're
drown
drinking.
ourselves, and we're
We're drinking.
drinking."
You keep it down, we're drinking.
Please keep it down. Oh, cool. You guys drink a lot. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's how you know. Like, no one, you never go to Wisconsin to be like, "Oh man, we like to drink here." It's just like
It's not true. They brag about it there
people,
too.
people drink
Like,
here. People, yeah, it's a thing.
it's a thing everywhere.
But we're
You know
talking
where else?
like we're
You
just
know where
talking
else
about
they
like
drink a lot? Moscow.
the
Like,
quantity.
yeah, Lisbon.
Here
Like,
here in
yeah,
Virginia, you can't even.
Mexico City.
No, here's the
Like,
difference. Is like these little laws where it's like here in Virginia, you can't just serve alcohol in a bar. Like a
right.
certain percentage of your sales has to come from
From
food,
food.
no matter what it
Yeah.
is. Wisconsin is just like there was 2 blocks from my house.
They always have.
Two
There's
blocks
always
from my
ways
house. Look
around
at
that.
2 blocks from my house. Uh, there was a bar on the corner, and then a liquor store, and then another bar, and then the other corner was another bar. So it was like 3 bars and a liquor store, and it's just like, yeah, no, they're not.
Well, yeah,
That's
in
just,
Milwaukee, fucking Cudahy, all there is
oh
bars.
geez, it's nothing but bars. So like you go to the
Bars
weirdest
and
thing
scumbags.
was when I moved out of state and realized you just couldn't go to the grocery store and buy hard alcohol.
Right. Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that was what it was like up here. For the longest time here in Washington, you couldn't buy liquor on Sundays. Like, it's
Yeah.
like it was illegal to buy. Like, I it was just like, because all the liquor stores were state run, and it was just like they just were closed on Sundays. But like, there's a law that was like all liquors has to be sold through a state run liquor store. They finally got rid of that about 10 years ago. But
Yeah.
like when I first moved here, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I remember like one year when like New Year's Eve fell on a fucking Sunday, and I
Oh.
was so fucking angry because I was like, Jesus Christ, it's like I was in my 20s. I wasn't planning ahead.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I need gin and it's New Year's Eve. Fuck you. Like, don't make me have to drive to fucking Oregon to get fucking gin.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That or like
Like,
the
yeah.
first time, like I used to when I was younger, like to do my grocery shopping, I'd like to go like just to avoid people. There's like a 24-hour grocery store I'd hit, and one day like I went, it was late at night, and I'm checking out, and I've got my week's worth of groceries and a 12-pack of beer, and they're like, we can't sell you a 12-pack of beer. I'm like, why? It's like it's after midnight. It's like I'm clearly just doing my grocery shopping here. I'm not buying like a
Right.
24-pack to go drink out in the parking lot. But now
It
that you've
doesn't matter.
challenged
Yeah,
me,
no. But even Milwaukee was like that. You couldn't buy beer after 9.
it's just so dumb.
It's stupid.
So dumb.
America's a stupid, stupid country.
When I moved from Missouri to Virginia, we took 2 days to get, and we spent the night in Lexington and went to the grocery. There was like a gas station that had like a little mini mart, and we
Mhm.
went to buy a beer, and like the door was locked, and we're like, hey man, your cooler door is jammed or something. He's like, it's locked. You can't buy beer on Sundays, and I'm like, fine, whatever. I mean, I guess if you think like the things that Christians think Jesus is like, Jesus is going to let them into heaven for not selling beer on Sundays and for not baking a cake for a wedding, but he's just going to overlook all the bombs you
Everything
dropped
other.
around the world. That
Every other
doesn't count.
thing that they do that's atrocious. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is like, there's nothing about it that makes any sense. Like, not a
Oh,
single aspect of Christianity makes a lick of fucking sense.
well, I
Like,
see you made it
but
illegal
like,
for gays to buy cakes, so come on in.
right, yeah. Or like it's like just any of it. It's just like, oh, we're like, hey, so like that, that guy that like hated the government and like 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 hung out with whores and like made friends with all the poor people and helped the sick. Yeah, we hate all that stuff, but we love that guy.
Yeah, right. All
We
the
hate
all
all that
the
stuff.
all the Christian nationalists who really hate God's chosen people, like that's not going to come back to bite
Yeah.
them in the ass.
It's fucking wild.
I mean, you
It's
shot
like,
up a synagogue, but you also never sold a cake to a gay person, so you're in.
yep. It's all good stuff.
Congratulations.
It's all good stuff.
It's
It's
all good
all real
stuff. You want
and sensible.
Amanda? You want to change some lives?
Yes, I do. I
You
want to
want to
help
dispense?
people.
You want to dispense some knowledge and just have a great conversation and like change people's lives? And you know what? I was looking at stuff
Settle
this
for
week.
dispensing some Pez at this point. Just peel my head
Well,
back.
ah, ah,
Come right in my throat.
ah.
Keep a few under here, just like a
Yeah.
burp.
I just like to spit them out, just like slowly, just go, and
Uh,
it just drops out.
yeah.
Oh yeah, man. No, I want some of your decapitation candy. That'd be great.
Good
Um,
stuff.
so I felt like last week we had such an amazing conversation, and I felt like there's I found some. I got some questions that are kind of like they like build off of last week. So
Okay.
yeah, if you feel like this is
There's
territory we
there's
covered,
continuity
there's some
here.
continuity. Yeah, it's like wow, we're
I don't
getting
like to think of it as being redundant. I like to think of it as continuity.
continuity, and we're
Like, how
just
many
like
times can you answer the same question? I don't know. Fucking ask Taco Bell. How many times?
how many times can you
How many
ask
times
Yo
can you
quiero
put
Taco
beans
Bell?
and how many times can you put beans and tortillas together? Like, and cheese, you'll find a way.
You'll find a way. Life finds a way. Well, you know what? This question will get us going in a positive direction.
I hope so,
Oh, it
because our
will.
first attempt did not work very
Did
well.
not. Did not. I gotta remember. I gotta put that. I gotta keep that in my memory banks
Ladies
too.
and gentlemen and friends beyond the binary, we tried a question, and did it go in a bad direction?
One of us, it went a bad direction. We won't say who.
I guess we could I don't feel comfortable saying who took it in a bad direction, but her name did not rhyme with Lilith.
Let's just say that if things go a certain way, Dommy Mommy Lilith is gonna have a lot of work on her hands.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's okay. It's okay.
That's
I'm here
true.
for you.
I'm baby.
That's okay. I'm here to keep you safe. Let's just jump in with a question
Um,
and pretend that part didn't happen.
I think that's a great.
Was that?
I think it's a great plan. I'm
I
all
think it's a
about
great
it.
plan. This is a good one because you hear this all the time and it kind of ties in. We had a similar vibe question last week where someone said their therapist said for them to wait for 4 years, which we agreed was
Oh
dumb
yeah,
as hell. This one is, and this one
it's ridiculous.
I've never heard it, but I also don't go to other people for advice. So this one though is like, but what if you regret it? Like you tell someone you know what I'm saying. What if you
I know what
regret
you're
it?
saying.
What do you tell people when they say it? Did you have, first of all, let's start there. Did you have anyone like when you came out and said, did you like tell people before you started and that you were going to do it?
I mean, I did, but
Yeah.
it was very brief. The period in which I told anybody, any other living soul on earth, and that I started actually transitioning was probably about 2 months,
Yeah.
about like 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, because like I came out like the week before the week of Halloween,
Hmm.
and then I started HRT on December 19th. So it's about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And so like in that period, yes, there were people that I namely my parents, because I told them on the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And so I that was and they asked those questions. I got all the trope stuff that at the time I didn't realize, because like when you first come out, you don't know like anything about anything, and like
Right.
you just, those questions sound perfectly normal. Now that I know a lot about it, it's like I was like, how dare you ask me those ridiculous things? It's like,
Yeah.
but no one ever would now, because I'm not there. But that's the thing, is like, and I forget sometimes, I lose the perspective of being pre-transition and not knowing. And I even thought I knew a lot, and I did. I was very well researched and very well studied on it, but like not like I knew like immediately after. Like
Right,
it's
right,
like
right.
nothing can replace going through it and experiencing it. And so like, but like, yeah, but I got asked those questions, and my parents
Yeah.
asked me those questions, and in all fairness, I think it is a legitimate question if it comes from a place of honesty. The problem is the reason it's there is because it's not coming from a place of honesty.
No, it's trying to
It's like
induce fear.
it is trying to induce fear, but it is initially, at, at its best, it's coming from a place of rampant ignorance. Like at its worst, it's coming from a place of complete duplicity and like hidden agenda. Like it's like, and it's both. It's
Mhm.
both. But like, ignorance though is forgivable because you can't help what you're ignorant of. Like there's nothing wrong with being ignorant of something.
Mhm.
The only problem with ignorance is if it's perpetuated intentionally, then that's when it's bad. Like, but like, I mean, you can't fault, like if you don't know something, you don't know it. Like, and so that's not your fault. Like, and for cis people, I think they have a really hard time comprehending it because they're cis. And like, to them, the idea of being anything than cis is like incomprehensible, because like it's because they are cis and they're perfectly happy being the gender they were assigned at birth, and that for them it's a non-issue. And so they're like, well, I'm happy, so why wouldn't you want to do this? It's great. Well, I love it. I feel great all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's like, because you're cis. But they don't make that connection. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
And like, so for them, it's like completely baffling and mind boggling.
Yeah.
Like, whereas like for us, it's like, and for me in particular, it's like, it's mind boggling why anyone would want to be male. Like, I don't understand it. Like, I get it. Like, I get, I have, like clearly I have male friends, and both trans and cis. And like, I'm not like disparaging it. I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with being male,
Not for
but
me.
like,
It's not for me.
it's not for me,
It's not
exactly,
for me.
because I'm not at all in any
I,
way. And I hated it. I hated the experience of it, like in every way. There was no part of it, with the exception of the privilege. The privilege I do miss.
I would say, first thing I would say is like, I think I've brought this up before, is like, I don't deal with like regrets. Like you make choices and
Right.
then you deal with what happens next. And honestly, if you started it, like I feel like there's like five people who've detransitioned who have made it their mission to tie themselves to the extreme right wing, and they show up at all the hearings and they show up at everything. Most people who just detransition, it's not
They're
because they
also
regret it.
paid to be
They're
that
also
too.
paid
It's
to be
like they
there.
did that, and then they found a market and a
Yeah.
place where like they get paid like millions of dollars
Most
to do
people
that shit.
who most people who detransition, it's because of societal forces. It's family
I gotta
rejecting
pause
them.
here.
It's
I gotta
friends.
pause and ask you a
Yeah.
question, because
Yeah.
like, so is the question asking what if you regret it, or is the question asking what do you say to people that ask
All
that
it's the
question?
title is just, but what if you regret it? And then the person answers it. But I feel like, yeah, how do you have this conversation with people who are like, and I would also say
Right.
first, how do you have that conversation? But then also like, how do you deal with it? Because as soon as someone says regret it, you probably start thinking about all the things, like they're going to give you a laundry list of reasons you'll regret it. And for me, it's just like, most people who detransition, it's not because they regret transitioning, it's because of other means. And people do everything. Like, what has this person ever asked you to regret anything else? You took out $40,000 worth of loans to go to college. They ask you if you would regret that? You invested in the stock market. They ask, what if you regret that? No, they didn't. So I think sometimes, like you said, there's obviously everyone's concerned for everyone. Your parents are concerned for you, but that question really does come out of a thing that you're doing something wrong or dangerous or that you're
Yeah.
not going to enjoy. And
Which none of that's true.
none of that's true. Now, when I came out,
But
it's funny. I didn't
but the
tell.
people that ask that question aren't always coming from a place of
Yeah,
malintent, of bad intentions. It's like a lot of the times, like I said, a lot of the times it's just cis ignorance. And because that narrative is so prevalent, paired with the just complete like inability for cis people to comprehend it, because also understand, like I think it's worth bearing in mind that I think for most cis people, they never even fucking think about it. Like it never comes up. And that's why the whole trans thing is so confusing and riles so many people up and scares them, because all of a sudden, after years of it being buried under like no one fucking talks about it, now all of a sudden it's in the conversation, like and it's everywhere, and it's like and for people that are older, that have lived their whole lives, all of a sudden they're forced, like after decades of not even knowing about this thing, like they're forced to like confront it, and they hate it because it's something new. And these are people that are already set in their ways, and they don't like change of any kind, and this is a big gigantic radical change for them,
yeah,
having to recognize this thing that's really been there the whole time, but they didn't ever have to see it. Now they have to see it, and they have to deal with it, and they don't like it.
yeah,
And that's a lot of what it is. Like, but like, so those people are coming from a place of bad content, but that whole thing is the reason it's not very visible is because like most of the population is cis. Like I would probably guessing that probably conservatively, like probably somewhere around 8 to 10% of the population is trans. That means like 90 to 92% is cis. And like it's like I probably use this analogy, but it's like a refrigerator. It's like no one sits around and like talks about how great their refrigerator works. It's like you don't sit around and like you open the fridge and you go, boy, this thing really is reliable. It's like I really appreciate it. Boy, can you imagine what my life would be like if my refrigerator didn't work? Oh God, would that suck? Wow, boy, I really feel bad for people that don't have working refrigerators. Oh, I'll close out. And then you go around the rest of your day thinking of how fortunate you are that your refrigerator works. It's like that's not a thing, because for them it's not a fucking thing. You just fucking your refrigerator just fucking works. Like and then like when you've got a fucking broken refrigerator, like it fucks up your whole life. Like if you've ever had a broken refrigerator, like it's like you have to change your whole life around it. You have to get like a cooler and ice, and you have to like constantly be tending to it, and you try to fix it right the fuck away as fast as you fucking can, because if you can't keep your fucking food cold, all your food goes bad. And like you don't understand how fucking shitty that is until you have to go through it. And that's what it is. Like it, and I mean, that's obviously not the same thing, but like it's a lot like that. And so for most cis people, they never think about it because it never has been an issue for them. Yeah. So like,
no,
so what
don't
do you
start talking.
say?
Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
I didn't jump right into that pause, and you were just like, "All right."
No, I just, I dominated so much of that
That's okay.
space. Like
That's
it's just,
okay.
yeah. But I
I
mean,
think no.
there you go. So
that, so here's the thing: is like you talk to anyone. Like I think one big thing is like, oh, people who do it older, like they regret not doing it. That person last week, if they waited 4 years, they would just regret that they didn't 4 years sooner. You talk to people who are like
that's the what
20,
that's
and they're
what you
oh my
always regret.
god, 20, who they're like, I'm too old. I wish I would have done this younger. It's like that's what you regret. And then the other thing is you can stop taking the medication if you regret it. You can detransition, and you can detransition without being a jerk to other trans people.
You
But
sure can.
you can
No
also
one does. Very few
if
people
you
do.
if you're worried, you don't have to medically transition immediately. You can socially transition depending on your age. You can approach this any way you want. But regret's not something that happens with transition for the most part. Like we
Really
said,
isn't.
people who do, it's like it's for other reasons. You're out of balance, and this is a way to put yourself in balance. And that person might be asking you because they love you and they're concerned about you, but also like, I'm going to regret it if I don't. So there's a chance. Everything you do in life, there's a chance for regret. And so if we sat down and every
Yeah.
time we did something, we sat and like,
Yeah. Why would you
what
ever
if
get out of bed?
what if I'm gonna walk to the store? Oh, what if you regret walking to the store? Like if you
What
got
if you
hit
get
by a
hit by
car.
a car?
Do you live your
What if
life
that
like that?
happens? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would like
It's
say
like,
like when I
I'm
came
gonna
out,
buy this bread. Like, well, what if you regret buying that bread?
the only people I
Like,
told before I started my transition was my roommates. I told the night before because I had a doctor's appointment. I was like, I'm going to the doctor tomorrow, and they asked what for, and I was like, I guess I should tell you, I'm doing this. And then a few people I told that I trusted after I started, and then like 3 or 4 months later, I told everyone. I came out to everyone and like my family and stuff. But I was already well on the track before I told them or the public at large. Why? I don't know. I felt like it was just where I was, and I wanted to do it.
yeah,
And
and everyone's different. I was the
yeah,
exact opposite. I told
yeah,
everybody right away.
yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, I'm doing this because I was just so fucking sick and tired of carrying that package around. And like, I was just like done with
Well,
this because
I
like
think it helped me that I had like gone through this kind of gender fluid journey before I did the hormones too, so everyone kind of knew that about me. And then
yeah,
I came out. I have a trans friend who is moving to LA to do stand up comedy, and so I took a month off and I drove her from Richmond to LA, and then I spent the rest of the time meandering my way back. Like I went up to Portland and down to Florida, and I did a festival down in Tampa before I was gone for a month. So I just told everyone, and I just left for a month.
no, and that's the thing is like everyone kind of does that to some degree where it's
Yeah,
like you do kind of check out a little bit because you need to because like
yeah,
it's just so there's so much weight to it. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it really is like there's nothing small about it. It's and so like how do you getting not to stray too far from the point because like this is one of those things why I think it is kind of in some cases a legitimate question, at least if it's coming from a place of honesty, because it is really one of the most impactful things because not
Yeah.
only does it impact your life 100% completely in ways you can't even imagine. It also impacts everyone's life that's ever known you.
Mm,
Like, and it just ripples out and affects everything. And so it's understandable because there are very few things there are like I've never encountered anything in my life that had the magnitude of transitioning. Like
mhm,
it's the most big thing there is. So in a sense, in that sense, it is worth asking that question because because it's so impactful, it's so huge, it's so thing. But that's the thing is like, and the reality of it is like Lilith said, it's like, well, it's not permanent. You can detransition if you want, and there are very almost no
mm,
consequences for it. Now but the thing is like the other thing is almost nobody detransitions. Like the other thing that Lilith said, which is super correct, which is the thing that people definitely regret is not doing it sooner. No one's happy they waited. No one's ever like, oh, I wish I'd have waited longer to transition. No one ever said that. Zero people have ever said that. And
You
of the
are you
people that,
are more likely to regret receiving life-saving heart surgery than you are from
mm-hmm,
transitioning, which means someone has had a heart problem, received life-saving surgery, and more people have that happen and go, "Oh, I wish they would have let me die," than people who transition and regret transitioning.
it's true.
Yeah,
And by a lot
a
also.
lot.
Like by
Yeah,
a
it's
lot,
like
by like
ridiculous.
a medical anomaly percentage. Like, and so that's that. But then the other end is of the people that do detransition, the vast majority of them, and I would say over 99%, are doing it because of family things or because of societal pressure. They're not doing it because they want to. Like I have met in my life, I've met two people that have detransitioned, and one of them I didn't really know them, and they clearly had massive emotional and psychological problems.
Hmm.
The other person that I met that detransitioned absolutely 100% did it because of their family, like, and because their family was pressured, and and they went back to being a boy, and it killed me because I was like,
Yeah,
I yeah, and like I watched it happen, and I don't know how they're doing. I lost touch. Like
yeah.
it's just like,
Mm. So yeah,
but it wasn't their choice.
yeah,
They didn't do it because they wanted to.
yeah. And yeah, so what if I'm gonna regret it? I'm gonna make my own mistakes. I'm gonna learn from those mistakes. If I regret it, I can correct it. Everything is
That's the
correctable.
thing.
Everything in
Well,
life is
not
correctable for the most part. Like, you're not locked
also
in. That's
true.
what we talk about, that like, if you have a job you hate and a life you hate, you're not locked into that. It feels like you're
Get
locked
out of
in,
it. Yeah,
but you have choices. And
you really
so
do.
anything you're regretting in your life, regardless of if it's your transition or not, you have a chance to correct those mistakes. And it's not
It's
even a
true.
mistake, it's just choice you made.
Well, the other thing about that is too is like, of the things that you can correct, or like Lilith just said, of the things that you can change course on, like that's one that's actually really easy to do.
Yeah,
It's like all you have to do is stop taking the meds.
yeah,
Like that's it. That's it.
you're
That's how
done.
you do it. That's how you want to detransition. You stop taking the medicine. That's it. That's all you have to do. Like, and over. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it takes a minute, but like, but like, I mean, that's the thing, is like, it's not like everyone, like all these people like make it out to be this, like this. It's like, it's wild because it's like there's very little, like it is a medical anomaly in that sense that it's so wildly successful, and also just it's also safe, and it's
yeah,
also cheap. Like it's
yeah,
not really expensive, and it's one of the safest drug regimens you can be on. There's so few side effects, and it just fixes everything. It's miraculous what it does. And so like that whole narrative is just so off base and so off the mark that like it's hard to like explain that to people because they
yeah.
just don't get it. They just don't get it.
Mm,
But I would say, like, getting back to the meat of the question, like, what do
yeah,
you say to someone that says that? Is I think that depends on where that's coming from. Because if
yeah,
that's coming from a place of honesty, then you can tell them all the stuff that we just said, or your own version of it. But or you could just tell them, point blank, like, it doesn't matter. I want to do this so badly that I'm not worried about the risks.
yeah.
Like, I'm not worried about the regret. Like, and maybe you can convince them that way, but you don't have to convince them, because
You
it's
ain't
up to
gotta convince
you.
me.
You
It's
don't
your
have to
life.
convince anybody of anything. You can do it. You don't need their blessing. Um, but the other end of it is, if they're coming from a place of like dishonesty, and they're coming from a place of hostility where it's like, no, well, what if you regret it? Like, it's like just this, and
Yeah,
fuck off. Tell them
you
to
don't have
fuck
to
off.
engage those people.
Yeah,
You're
just
under
don't
an
talk to them.
obligation to engage those people. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so make a judgment call, and like, don't be quick to judge. I would say give people, especially if they're friends or family, the benefit of the doubt. But if they prove themselves to be openly hostile to you and your transition, you're gonna have to make some hard choices regarding your relationship with them.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, heavy,
Yeah.
heavy
Heavy.
stuff.
So, but continuing, like, connections. I don't know if we should have done these in reverse order now that I'm looking at, but no, probably not, because this is this thing. So someone says to you like, why don't you, what if you regret it? And then you have this question. This is going to pop into your mind and be like, how do I know it's not better to repress it? And they actually, and I'm going to read what they wrote here. I want to be a girl so bad. but the emotional labor it takes to even try is too much, and I worry it'll get worse and worse until it ruins my life. Maybe if I just gave up, accepted I can't get what I want, I'd be less miserable. I'll never be Juniper. I wonder, that might be, the name they've
Yeah.
chosen for them. Maybe I'm just a pathetic boy who can't do anything for themselves. I feel like I should just say those things to myself until I forget this ever happened. Maybe I could be just depressed enough to survive. I don't know anymore. Nobody is around to help.
You poor
Ugh,
sweet fucking thing. You poor
right?
sweet angel.
Yeah,
That's me. That was me.
yeah,
That's all of us, honey.
yeah,
No, you can't. You have to do it. And
yeah,
I sure hope you find the courage to do it, because that's what everything you just said is
yeah.
everything that we all go
Oh, we
through.
all thought
We
that's not
all feel like
possible.
that
That's not
because
gonna.
yeah, it's not possible. It's like I can't do it. It's not going to work for me. Like it's like that's the dysphoria talking. That's the and it's like what maybe I can just power through it. It's like, oh, the way that resonates with how I how
Yeah,
I approached it my whole life. Those are the things you tell yourself to make it bearable to get through your miserable existence, because you don't comprehend how shitty you feel.
you don't
You
know all
don't.
the stuff you're carrying on
And if
with
you just
you. Yeah,
listen to what you just said, like, and I hope that for you, whoever wrote that, like, I hope that for you, like, because one of the things that helped me actually pull the trigger and come out, and the thing that was the catalyst for me making the decision to come out and start, was I wrote it down. I
yeah,
wrote it down and I read it back. And I hope that's what you just did, because if you can read that back, what you just wrote, and just like, just if you have the ability to just separate yourself from that for a second and just like read those words, it's like you don't need anything more than that. That's what it is. That is, you're already a girl, honey. Juniper is who you are. Like,
yeah. You're
that's
already
you.
Juniper.
That's
Great,
you.
great
Like,
name
you
by the
are
way.
Juniper already. Like, you just need to quit holding her back. Like,
Yeah,
it's like that, you're already there. Like, and that's the thing that people don't tell you, and that's the thing that you don't allow yourself to realize also. And it's so hard, and oh, I just have so much, my heart just
yeah,
like, it's like it's bleeding a little bit for that, like, because it's like it hurts. I feel that deeply, like, and
yeah,
I empathize with that, because that was me.
yeah.
That was
I would,
me. I was you.
I would add that I don't think it's ever good to repress anything.
It's
I
never
feel
good.
like you should express yourself. How often we look back and like talk to your therapist and you have emotions that you repressed and you change. If you're mad about something and you repress that anger to avoid offending someone else, like these are all the kinds of things that damage you as a person, is holding your joy back, holding what you need to do back for someone else's comfort, to make someone else feel better. And you know you're worried, if you're worried that something that it's never going to be, like, well, it's never going to be if you keep repressing it, and you worry about, like,
Exactly.
will it ruin my life? And like I said,
It sounds like your life's
I
pretty
started
bad.
transitioning during the Trump administration. Like
Me
the
too.
slow decline was already on its way, but I would, whatever the future holds, however my story ends, I would not change my transition for anything, because it just is better to be where I'm at than where I was. And I'm willing to take that on. And per our last question, people, if you're thinking about this much, you're
You're
more
already
likely
there
to regret life-saving heart surgery than you will transitioning by a lot.
by
Like,
a lot.
it's there, and you should listen to yourself and find your joy. And like, no one should. This is what's wrong with everything in this country, is no one should be like, well, maybe I can just be miserable for the rest of my life. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Why? What's the
I
point
don't
of
want you.
that? Like,
That's not why we're here. We're not here to be miserable. We're not in. And I know there are people that it seems like they feel like they were put on this planet to make other people miserable. We were put on this planet to enjoy the planet, to enjoy life, to enjoy our existence. And don't ever make the choice to be miserable for someone else. And you know what? That person you're being miserable for, they're not even being joyful out of it. If all of us detransitioned, Christian nationalists wouldn't suddenly be happy
No,
if every
it'd still kill us.
every person of color left this country and every gay and trans person stopped existing, they'd
You just
still be
find another
miserable.
target to be angry at and
Miserable
punish.
people are miserable, and they want to make other people miserable because they don't see joy in life. I see
Yeah,
joy in my life, and I want you to have joy in your life, and do not
yeah, we want.
compromise your own joy
It's true.
to try to make someone happy who's never going to be happy to begin with. I
It's
mean,
also. Oh, it's so true.
yeah, Christians are just the Klan hates Catholics. Catholics are the OG Christians. Like they're not. It's more than just like they will find the next group to hate. There are people in
Yeah,
this world
they
who
just go
will
down the
never be
list until
happy.
it's like there's no satiating that that you their whole jam is just finding someone to hate.
Yeah,
Like that's just their whole thing. And they will always find an other. Like, and if it's not trans people or whoever it is, like Lila said, all that stuff. It's like,
yeah,
but for you, like hearing all those things that you wrote and said, and like I just hope you read that back and you understand exactly like the gravity, because like it did take me to get to that point where it was like
mhm,
I really did feel like I had nothing left to lose at this point. Like, and at that point is when I kind of like I did what you just did and I wrote it out. I didn't post it on the internet, but I did write it. And I wrote it and I read it back. And by the time I was done reading that back, and I just like was honest with myself, and I was just like, okay, this is how I feel. This is what I've been not saying out loud for 35 years. Like, and when I finally did, and I just said it and I accepted it, like I was like, okay, now I can move forward and I can actually do this thing that I've wanted to do since I was 2 years old.
yeah,
Like, and here's the other thing is all those things that you just said, like no one that cis would ever say anything like that. Like, because you are trans, like you
yeah,
are already. Like, and that's the other thing about it is like it's like you can be trans and miserable, or you can be trans and fucking feel great. Like
yeah,
that choice is up to you. Like, and you don't have to be miserable. It's like it's society will push you towards that, maybe your family, but like you don't have to do that. You have the option, and it really just takes making up your mind, but it does take a lot of courage. You have to. It's
yeah.
scary. It's the
And
scariest thing in the world.
I've
It's
always
so
said,
scary.
the secret to life and being happy in life is realizing that you only have the time you have, and none of this at the end really matters. It's all about just being your best self and enjoying your life. And all the problems in the world come from people who believe the opposite. And the opposite is that you live forever and that everything you do has matters. And
Mhm.
that does, like, if you're living your life miserably, and it doesn't sound like this person is doing that. It doesn't sound like Juniper is doing it for this reason. But if you're living a miserable existence because you think that when you die, you're going to have some amazing life afterwards, you are just wasting your life.
Yeah, you're
Your life
really
is
just like
right
it's the
now. You are
biggest.
here
It's
on.
the
It's the
biggest
biggest.
con in the world.
Like,
It's the
enjoy
greatest con
your
of all
moment.
times.
Enjoy
Yeah.
your life.
Don't ever
And
do what you want. Do what I say, because when you die, you'll get everything you want. Like,
yeah,
think of how much of a scam that is. Listen to that. Listen to that.
yeah.
And who told you that? A person, not God,
A
not the
person,
book.
a
A
person,
person.
a person you gave money to every week.
Mhm. A
You're
person
you
told you
you
that. That's
have
not divine.
you have this life, and you're put here to enjoy your life. And I mean, honestly, if I was being honest, I would say we're just here. We weren't there. There's the
Yeah.
saying you were put here to
Even the
enjoy your life.
putting, even the
We
getting
were
put
not
here
put
is
here. We are
ridiculous.
here. You are
We are
here.
here.
Enjoy the time you have and enjoy your life. And any reason, anything you're doing that's making you miserable, like really question why you're doing that. And sometimes, sometimes we struggle, and it's because, our values say we should help other people, and, we make a sacrifice. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about like holding yourself back to appease who? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
someone that's not you, or
someone that's
just
not you.
because you're afraid, which
Yeah,
is like what I was. I
yeah,
was afraid more. It really wasn't to appease anyone else. I was just afraid.
yeah,
Like, and that's what it was for me. I mean, what you're saying sounds so much like everything I said to myself, all those things.
yeah,
Like, probably not to the extreme, but like, I mean, you already know your name.
yeah,
You already understand it. You've got this, honey. You just need to just step out into the light. That's all you need to do. You just need to
yeah,
take that step. And like it is going to be hard. Here's the thing
yeah,
is I don't want to act like, oh, all you have to do is like just make up your mind and everything's going to be fine. No, you're going to go through hardship. Transitioning is difficult. It's scary and it's very hard. And you're going to cry and people are going to be mean to you and you're going to lose friends and family, and but it's going to be so worth it because you're already miserable. You're going to be
yeah.
so much happier. And what you're going to find is you're going to find new friends and new family that loves you for who you are instead of this idea that they're imposing on you against your will.
And then I would also say just the last line here, that nobody is around to help. Like, you can definitely, there are resources, whether that's local groups, and a lot of local groups, like, it used to have to be in person. Depending on your age, you can meet online now. They'll do
Yeah.
they'll do
There's
Zoom
so
meetings.
many
Just like
forums
there
and
are support. There's
virtual support groups. It
podcasts from people who've been through it and are just like
Yeah.
amazingly
Listen to our
smart.
podcast. Like and
Yeah,
subscribe.
click like and subscribe.
Oh, that was so greasy.
No,
But do it, but like and subscribe.
yeah, and then we'll
Ring that
know,
bell.
like, we'll just know every weekend that every Monday morning it downloaded to your podcast, and you'll get your little hour and a half of hope, a little hour and a half
Except
of
for that
like,
one time I did it early.
yeah, it's okay, that's all right. Sometimes
That's
things
embarrassing.
happen. It's no big deal.
It's really not.
It's not. You're making it a big deal.
I made it a big deal.
But the
Oh,
thing
that's too
is,
funny.
nothing matters, and you only have the one life, so don't worry about it.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, there are people out there who love and support you. We've all lost friends and or family, and we've replaced them with friends and or family. You know, I've got I've got family here. I've got friends. And when I last fall, when I was told I wasn't welcome at Thanksgiving, I had people all over the country who I'm friends with who invited me. They're like, "Come swing," and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh no, I want to make my own shit, and eat at home." And I was happy. It was fine.
Yeah.
Like,
It was fucking shitty. Like, it
we had a
was
great Thanksgiving, but it's like I have people who
you
love
had
me
to
for
go
who I
through that
am.
shit. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, and that is the thing is like it's like people are gonna be shitty because people are just shitty to us.
people are
And guess
shitty.
what? They're
They're
shitty to
shitty
you
to everyone.
already.
They're shitty to
And they're
everyone
shitty to
too.
everyone. Like
Yeah.
you don't have anything to gain by not doing this. And like in the minute and and the thing is I hope you find it within yourself to pull
Yeah.
the trigger here and make the leap. Take that leap because like it is I do promise you that it will be hard, yes, but it's gonna be so you're gonna feel so much better.
Oh,
And like all the fears that you might have about like how you might look, like you're gonna be amazed. You're gonna have moments when
great.
you look in the mirror and you see the difference and you're just gonna cry out of sheer joy because you never believed it was
Yeah.
possible. Like, because it's amazing. That experience is unlike anything else in the world. Nothing else is like it. Nothing else comes close to that level of like euphoria that you get from like finally seeing just even hints of who you really were always supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just a beautiful thing.
And then one day you're gonna be joking around with friends, and you're accidentally gonna put a baseball cap on backwards, and you're gonna realize how sexy you look as a Tom girl. Like, I'm like an
Yeah, it's pretty
80s
hot.
sitcom Tom girl. Yeah. And then, I just like, God, like, so that's the reason we do the podcast. We want to give you all like the power to like follow through on your dreams and like do it. And like, God,
Mhm.
how great would it be like to be doing a live podcast, and like Juniper comes
Wanna
up
do
to
it.
us and like,
Invite us to your venue.
yeah, invite us to your venue. Where are you located? Email
We're
us.
we're really funny.
girldickwithted@gmail.com. Email us if
Ted@gmail.com.
if you have like a community of trans people who'd love to come. We don't even know how to do a live podcast yet. We probably just record it with a
I know
microphone.
how to do it.
See, she knows everything. I just know how to look cute as a
Yeah, I
tomboy.
know how to do it. We'll put on a good show.
We'll put on a great show, and then who knows? Like, we both have talents aside from being amazing podcasters. Maybe we'll make it a whole night with music and comedy, and who knows what it'll be. But that's out there for you, Juniper. And I want Juniper to
Oh,
be as
honey.
happy and as
Yeah.
amazing as she can be, and just
You're
know
gonna be
that
great,
that's
honey.
possible. You're gonna be amazing.
It's hard. It's hard, but like
Everything's hard.
when you get there, when you get through, you come give us a visit. Come pay us a visit. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know how you're doing.
Drop us an
I'll
email.
give you the biggest fucking hug you've ever gotten.
Oh my God.
You're gonna feel so great.
Yeah, I'll
People
give you a
will
big
be so
hug.
happy for you.
Yeah,
I believe in you. You got this, sweetheart. You're gonna be able to do it.
for sure. For
Uh-huh.
sure.
You got it.
I feel so much. I feel great. I feel great.
Wonderful.
I'm so happy, Juniper. I want nothing but the best for you. I want the best for all
Yeah.
of you. If you listen to this podcast, I want the best for you. And the best is possible. Whatever someone tells you it's not possible, or that voice in your brain tells you it's not possible, tell those people and that voice in your brain to fuck off, because it is possible. Everything's
It
possible.
is. And
We
it
have
is so much better.
we have so much control over our universe and over the world than we give ourselves credit for.
And over ourselves.
Exactly.
Like,
Completely over ourselves. And I always think about times in your life, like, you have thoughts. Those thoughts are reality, and you can change your thoughts. You can take
true.
steps to be the person you want to be. And I know, like, these thoughts come from where we've all been, because we didn't love ourselves. I hated myself before I transitioned. I hated myself for a long time. And of course it seemed hopeless, because the person I was whatever, but you can make those choices and you can make those changes, and it's the sun shines on the other side, for sure.
Yeah.
And just stock up on backwards hats and just see if it works. If it works for you, look at this.
And pickles.
Oh yeah, definitely need pickles. I don't know if they don't tell you about that. They don't tell you about the emotional overflow or the desire for pickles.
Well, okay, so the pickles thing, though, that's a specific side effect of a specific drug, which you
Yes.
shouldn't take.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Don't take Spiro. Do finasteride instead.
I'm on it. What do you want me to do? I'm thinking about it. Let me ask you
I'm
this.
talking about
This doesn't have to be in the podcast, but I'm just going to ask you.
You're on Spiro? You're doing Spiro still?
I've been doing it since the beginning, yeah. But here's what I'm thinking.
Here's what I'm thinking. You take finasteride
Oh my
is way
God,
better.
could you just let me finish my question? So what I'm thinking is, because I'm probably, like, the bottom surgery's on the back burner while the world burns, but I wonder, like, if I can get an orchiectomy locally, and then
You
I
don't have
don't,
to, yeah.
but then I won't have to take
You don't have to
the
take the
testosterone
antiandrogens
bust.
at all.
Yeah, I would just need to take my
Yeah.
estrogen. I wonder if
I have friends that did that. Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing, though. It's like I feel like if you're gonna do that, you might as well just do the whole thing. Like, it's
I can do that without going through, like, all the hair removal and jumping through all the hoops and things like that.
Yeah, I have to figure that out too. But that's a topic for another.
That's the topic we're going to
discussion.
talk about. We're going to talk about everyone's balls another time.
I'll tell you. But yeah, this one felt great. I love you, Lilith.
I love you too. And you know who else I love? I think I mentioned this at the top. All the people who listen to the podcast.
All the people in the world.
Yeah. Send out love.
Except Fat Ron.
You know what? I want Ron to find a suit that fits. And
wouldn't it be nice if he fucking figured his shit out?
Wouldn't it be nice if he just learned to love himself and realize that he can exist as a happy human being, and it's not tied to making other people miserable? But first, my love goes to all the people who really need love today.
He gets it last.
Yeah, he gets it last. He's back of the line, Ron. We love you. Be safe. Love life. Live in the moment. all those things. I'm Lilith Zarling. That's Amanda Bonanza. Ted says his regrets for everything, not just for missing the show.
Yeah, for everything.
He
Talking about
really regrets
regrets.
it. Talking about regrets.
Oh shit. Yeah, people ask, like, well, what if you regret it? What if ask Ted Cruz that?
Yeah.
Ask Ted Cruz, what if you regret being Ted Cruz? And he's like, oh fucking, I hate it.
Oh man, I hate
I
it.
wish I was never Ted Cruz. That's what he said to me.
Yeah, he said
Like every morning he wakes up, he's like, fuck, I hate being me.
Donald
Fuck, I
Trump.
hate being Ted Cruz. This
Donald
sucks.
Trump called my wife ugly, and then I did fundraising calls for Donald Trump.
Oh,
That's the worst existence ever.
that's who I am.
That's the kind of
I'm
person
the
I am.
worst.
Yeah. Yeah. I made fun of Joe Biden's son when he died. I made jokes about it.
I'd change my name to sound more white. Oh. Not because it's who I was, but to sound more white. Oh.
Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen. The unseen co-host of the show. We love you all. Be safe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.